And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we have got a phenomenal show for you today. And that show is going to start with what's in the news. And there's a lot of news today. Also, new legislation, the IRS Loses. And we'll continue our segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. And the rest of the story, today's story, going to be the missing year. You're going to love that story. It's a great story, not what you're expecting. And then, of course, today we'll have our own Sean LaFave. Sean and I are going to be talking about healthcare on the Geared for Wellness Corner. That's always a great segment for us, so we're going to do that. But right now, what I want to talk to you about is well, you know what the heck? I want to talk to you about what's in the news. I don't know what the heck. I went deaf, dumb, and blind for a minute. Didn't know what the heck I was doing. You know, first off, Speaker defends Trump ban as the Veep addresses the GOP concerns, you know. Excuse me. Off the top, House Speaker Paul Ryan defended President Donald Trump's divisive executive order on refugees and immigration today, while Vice President Mike Pence promised frustrated Republican senators better communication on major policy issues going forward. The president has a responsibility to the security of this country, Ryan told reporters after renewing his support for the temporary entry ban during a closed-door meeting with GOP House members. While calling initial confusion over the rollout regrettable, Ryan added, what is happening is something that we support, which is we need to pause and we need to make sure that the vetting standards are up to snuff so that we can guarantee the safety and security of our country. That is what this does. GOP congressional leadership was frozen out of the drafting of the measure, and Ryan acknowledged he didn't find out the details until Friday as Trump was signing the order to shut off the Syrian refugee program indefinitely and halt the U.S. refugee program and all entries from 7 Muslim-majority nations for 90 days. The action triggered mass confusion and chaos worldwide, split families, and set off protests at airports across the country. Some GOP lawmakers, including key senators, have complained that the administration kept GOP Hill leaders in the dark, sending them scrambling for information to help confuse constituents. Senator Marco Rubio from the Republican from Florida told reporters Monday that his staff had been informed the State Department was barred from talking to Congress. Pence used a regular appearance at the weekly closed-door Senate Republican lunch on today to try and soothe some of those concerns, lawmakers said. He talked about the changes that are making to address some of the problems. And then he talked about really working to coordinate and communicate both himself and the White House in general, Senator John Hoeven, the Republican from North Dakota, said. Well, you're going to hear about a lot more stuff that's in the news. It's all coming through. Lots and lots of things. And some things are not very, very pleasant. Well, let's talk about the AP fact check. Trump claims on travel ban is misleading and it's wrong. In the face of widespread criticism, President Donald Trump and other member of his administration have staunchly defended his order, temporarily banning refugees and nearly all citizens from 7 Muslim-majority countries. But in a statement Sunday, tweets on Monday, and comments today, Trump and others misstated the facts or offered contradictory statements multiple times. That's what they call these alternative facts, right? Well, what Trump and others said and how it compares with the facts, well, kind of get this. Sean Spencer says, well, first of all, it's not a travel ban, the White House spokesman said during a daily briefing today when asked about Trump's executive order halting travel to the U.S. for people from 7 majority Muslim countries. And then John Kelly says, this is not a travel ban. This is a temporary pause that allows us to better review the existing refugee and visa vetting system, the Homeland Security Secretary told reporters Tuesday. Well, you know what? The facts are, that's not what their boss said on Monday. Trump defended the order and its immediate implementation in a tweet by saying, if the ban were announced with a 1 week notice, the bad would rush into our country during that week. A lot of bad dudes out there. Spicer also called it a ban on Monday at George Washington University School of Media and Public Affairs, saying the ban deals with 7 countries that the Obama administration had previously identified as needing further travel restrictions. Well, what you're going to find out later on in the news is that the heads of the Department of Defense, of the Department of Homeland Security, the chief staff of the military, none of these people were involved in any of the things going on with this ban. Their underlings, their staffing did it, and the heads of those departments, none of them were told. It was Steve Bannon that actually ran this thing, and so did Donald Trump. They left, he just betrayed the people that he nominated to chair those departments. Somebody's got to answer for this, and somebody's got to wake up, for Pete's sake. Well, Trump announcing the Supreme Court pick tonight. Excuse me. President Donald Trump was poised today to announce his choice to fill the vacancy of the Supreme Court, one of the most consequential moves of his young administration, and the decision with ramifications that could long outlast his time in office. The president is to unveil his pick during an 8 p.m. Eastern Time televised address from the White House. Trump is said to have made his selection from a group of 3 finalists, all federal appeals court judges appointed by former President George W. Bush, Neil Gorsuch, Thomas Hardiman, and William Pryor. Gorsuch, 49, who serves on the U.S. Court of Appeals in Denver, and Hardiman, 51 years old, who serves alongside Trump's sister on the Philadelphia-based 3rd U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, are believed to have an edge, according to people with knowledge of the decision. A White House official said both Gorsuch and Hardiman were to be in Washington ahead of Tuesday's or this evening's event, adding a dash of drama to that announcement from the reality television star turned president. The official was not authorized to discuss the Supreme Court pick and insisted on remaining anonymous. I guess, if he didn't, you can guess what would happen, right? Yeah, he'd get fired. That's what would happen. No question about that. Well, you know what? We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the Democrats' forced delays in votes on 3 cabinet nominees. Democrats, excuse the expression, they're pissed. You know what? And I think a lot of Republicans are now, too. And a lot of new nominees, they're ticked off, too. We'll see what happens here. You know what? You're either part of the team or you're not part of the team. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, They're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:12 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in southern sunny California. Well, that's down from 74 on its way to 48 degrees. It's going to get cool. But you know what? Right now, we're talking about news. And right off the top, the Democrats forced delays in votes in 3 cabinet nominees. Senate Democrats blocked committee votes on 3 of President Donald Trump's highest-profile cabinet picks today, as spiraling partisan hostility over the fledgling administration's refugee curbs and other initiatives seem to seep into Congress's work on nominations. In an unusual step, Democrats boycotted planned Senate Finance Committee votes on Representative Tom Price, the Republican from Georgia, to become Health Secretary, and financier Stephen Mnuchin to head the Treasury Department. They accused both men of lying about their financial backgrounds, and since committee rules require that at least one Democrat to be present, Republicans could not hold roll calls. He didn't tell the truth, the committee's top Democrat, Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, said of reports that Price received professional treatment in purchasing stock on a biotech company. He misled the Congress and he misled the American people. The tactic infuriated Republicans, even though the GOP boycotted a committee vote on Gina McCarthy to head the Environmental Protection Agency in 2013 when Democrats ran the Senate. They ought to stop posturing and acting like idiots, said committee chairman Orrin Hatch. Well, he's a Republican from Utah. Are they that bitter about Donald Trump? The answer has to be yeah. At the Senate Judiciary Committee, Democrats criticized Senator Jeff Sessions, the Republican from Alabama, Trump's nominee for Attorney General, in speeches that lasted as long as 30 minutes apiece. After 4.5 hours, panel chairman Charles Grassley, the Republican from Iowa, adjourned the session and set a new meeting for Wednesday. He's been the fiercest, most dedicated defender in Congress of the Trump agenda. California's Dianne Feinstein, the senior Democrat on Judiciary, said of Sessions. The clashes came as the opening days of the Trump administration have seen little of the honeymoon period new presidents usually experience. The chief battleground has been Trump's executive order temporarily blocking refugees worldwide, and anyone from 7 Muslim-majority nations. Well, I think we're just seeing the beginning of this fight. It's going to go on and on and on. It's going to get bitter and it's going to get nasty. No question about it. Well, after the Trump order, volunteer lawyers descend on big airports. You know what? It's been a few years since attorney Roman Zelichenko left immigration law for a career in finance, and longer still since he pulled an all-nighter. But After President Donald Trump issued his immigration order, Zelechenko spent 21 straight hours at what swiftly became one of the nation's most closely watched immigration law centers, a diner at John F. Kennedy Airport, where volunteer lawyers, translators, and others tried to find and free people detained under the new rules. Alerted by law school friends, Zelechenko joined the effort because it resonated personally. He immigrated from Ukraine as a child. We all have different personal connections, he said on Monday, as he worked on the project's social media postings. But we're here as professionals, and our agenda is to uphold the rule of law. As Friday's presidential order reverberated around the world, dozens of attorneys descended on JFK to advocate for people suddenly struck in a legal limbo that the lawyers argue is unjust and unlawful. Trump temporarily banned refugees and citizens from 7 Muslim-majority countries traveling to the United States throughout the weekend, and followed travelers. Travelers were held for questioning. Confusion spread across the air travel system, and protesters marched against the measure. Wow, can you imagine? Gets more and more confusing, although today it looks like they were working out some of these things. You would have thought that they'd have worked them out long before the problem started. They could have eliminated a lot of this with just a little forethought. Well, you know what? Yates' firing sends a message about Trump's dissent tolerance. It's zero, folks. President Donald Trump's abrupt late-night firing of the acting United States Attorney General sends a clear message to his future cabinet about his tolerance for public dissent. The president will soon have in place like-minded political appointees, not inherited officials like Sally Yates, who refused to allow the Justice Department to defend his immigration orders in court. And they will be less inclined to publicly disagree with him. But his haste in firing an Obama administration holdover, his spokesman's admonishment that career employees should either get with the program or go, and Trump's comments about issues he wants federal prosecutors to investigate all illustrate how he moves aggressively to ensure his directives are carried out, even at agencies like the Justice Department that cherish their independence. Over the decades, there has been respect for the independence of the Justice Department as a law enforcement agency, said Bill Byer, a high-ranking department official during the Obama administration. There is reason for grave concern that the incoming president views the Justice Department just as another political weapon to go after people who disagree with him. Boy, now that is a scary thought. Yeah, that's really a scary thought. But you know what? Let's just leave it with this. U.S. misfires in an online fight against the Islamic State. You know, on any given day at the MacDill Air Force Base, web crawlers scour social media for potential recruits to the Islamic State group. Then, in a high-stakes operation to counter the extremist propaganda, language specialists employ fictitious identities and try to sway the targets from joining IS ranks. At least that's how the multi-million-dollar initiative is being sold to the Defense Department, a critical national security program known as WebOps. WebOps is part of the vast psychological operation that the Pentagon says is effectively countering an enemy that has used the internet as a devastating tool of propaganda. But an Associated Press investigation found that the management behind WebOps is so beset with incompetence, cronyism, and flawed data that multiple people with direct knowledge of the program say it's having little impact. With that, we're going to have the impact of another short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about something pleasant. The IRS loses. And the first case is one that was conceded. Yeah, it's a faulty S election for a corporation is deemed to be effective. And I'm going to tell you about that rest of these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his Loses show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's back to 74 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's on its way down to 47 degrees, but if you're listening to our show on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in New York City, well, it's 34 degrees and it's overcast. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, listening to this doggone great show, well, it's 40 degrees and it is overcast. But you know what, right now, I want to put a smile on your face. I want to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case is a case that was conceded, and you've heard me say it many times, the IRS only concedes when they're pretty sure that they can't prevail in court. In this case, it's a faulty subchapter S election. That's an election for corporations to make, is deemed to be actually effective. You know what? A corporation with a subsidiary made an S election that reported to the IRS that it owned all of the subsidiary stock, but later discovered that it did not. Now, on finding the error, it had the subsidiary redeem all of the shares that it did not own, and this is what the IRS ruling was. The subsidiary was not a qualified subsidiary when the S election was actually made because it was not 100% owned. So the S election was faulty. But a faulty S election can be deemed effective when the fault was inadvertent and promptly corrected upon being discovered. That was the case here, and the corporation had in all other ways acted properly as an S corporation. So its election is upheld. That's a big deal when it comes to tax treatment, folks. So just know that. Well, here's the case the IRS loses. An appraisal is sufficient for gift tax purposes. You know what? Huber Corporation has operated as a private business since 1883 and has about 250 shareholders, including extended family members, charities, and universities. Now, each year, an accounting firm appraises its stock value, and the appraisal is used in various transactions involving the company's stock. But when family members use the appraisal to value gifts of shares to relatives, the IRS challenged it as being too low. Well, here's what the judge said when they went to court. Over the prior 6 years, there have been 90 stock sales priced at the appraisal value, even though parties were free to negotiate another price. Now, this indicated that the appraisal value was a fair market value and sufficient for valuing the gifts. Shame on the IRS. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. Mortgage interest can be deducted as a business expense to boost tax savings, and it's a big deal. You know, when an individual deducted interest that he paid on a home equity loan as a business expense instead of his mortgage interest, now this increased his tax savings because unlike a mortgage interest deduction, the business expense reduced adjustable gross income, or AGI, and so increased other deductions with AGI-related limits. And business expenses are not subject to the general reduction of itemized deductions by 3% of the amount by which the adjusted gross income exceeds $150,500. Now, keep in mind that the IRS disallowed the business deduction. This is what the tax court said. The home loan proceeds were traced to a genuine business use. So the deduction, you got it, is absolutely proper and is going to be given. Well, you heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS, just a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Yeah, well, you know what? Now, these are not tax court cases, so you can't actually use them as that kind of precedence. But, you know, you heard me say information is one of the most valuable assets that you have, and that's certainly the case here, too. So we're talking about just knowing things that are going on. Let's talk about this for a minute. You know what? You need to make sure that it's in writing when you're dealing with the IRS. Now, creating a written record is really, really important if you later need to prove either that you took a certain action or that someone at the IRS was supposed to remedy a problem that you had. Now, here's an example of that. Let's just say that you filed an amended return reflecting a refund, but you didn't receive a check within the 90 days. So what do? You send the IRS a letter setting forth the date that you actually filed the amended return and requesting that it process the return and send you a check. Also in the letter, ask the IRS to confirm that it received the amended return. Now, failure to create such a written record, especially if you didn't send the return by certified or registered mail, is going to make it difficult, maybe even impossible to prove that you actually filed a return should the deadline for filing pass without your refund actually showing up. So you want to make sure that you cover all the bases when you're doing these things. How about this? How about the tax consequences when money is stolen or embezzled? You know, generally any gain realized as a result of an unlawful conduct is required to be included in your gross income of the person who actually stole or embezzled that money. Now, even though the money must be returned to its owner. Now, when a person has unrestricted control of money that does not belong to him or her, that money will be subject to federal income tax. So here's an example. A person who works as a bookkeeper and writes checks to himself without the knowledge or the consent of his employer, well, the amount of the checks will be added to that person's taxable income. If the money is later returned, then a deduction may be available. But there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. No guarantee that it's going to be available. The only guarantee is somebody is going to pay the piper. You just want to make sure that you're not the piper payer, right? Absolutely. Now, please don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to be talking about healthcare.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's 74 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 47 degrees. But you know what? Get out of the way, because in Cleveland, Ohio, it's 36 degrees and there are ice pellets. So duck or get out of the way or get protected, for Pete's sake. And you know what? If you're really, really lucky, you might get invited to the barbecue, or at least the dinner that my good buddy Sean LaFave's having in Wichita, Kansas. Hey, man, it's 58 degrees, and it's clear, and it's sunny, and good Lord, and it's only 5:34. He's got a whole evening ahead of him. Hey, Sean, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, Robert. How you doing?
I'm doing great. What do you got on the stove for tonight?
Well, you know, I was just about to say I'm looking around for the barbecue, because I must already ate it all, because there ain't any around here. You know, One of my big weaknesses when it comes to food, and I don't have a lot of them. Like I don't have a real sweet tooth, and there are a few things that I really enjoy. But one of my biggest weaknesses is hot wings.
Hot cakes?
Hot wings.
Hot wings. Yeah.
Buffalo wings.
So you'll get your fill of those on Sunday, right?
On when?
You'll get your fill of those on Sunday, right? You're going to watch the Super Bowl, aren't you?
Oh, is this?
Oh, never mind. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I brought the whole thing up. What a god awful disaster talking to you about the Super Bowl.
I knew that the Super Bowl. I actually this year know the two teams that are going to be in it, because you basically got New England, that part of the United States that's just miserable in a lot of different ways, and then except it's nice to visit, especially in the fall, rooting for the Patriots. But then the rest of the country pretty much is hoping that oh my gosh, I can't think of who it is that's playing now all of a sudden.
Packers.
Now, what's that?
Packers.
Not the Packers. It's not the Packers. You can't fool me. I know who it is. I just can't think of their name right now.
The Rams.
Anyway, no, it's not the Rams. It's you're killing me.
The Chargers.
Anyway, no, not the Chargers. But you know who it is. You're just seeing if I do or not. But I can't even think of who they are. The Falcons. Is that who?
Yes, Atlanta.
Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, Falcons.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the rest of the country's rooting for the Falcons because everybody hates New England. But
anyway. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but New England's going to win. Tom Brady, if you just give him any air at all, the guy's going to win. They're favored by 3 points, which means that it's going to be a really, really close game. They're talking about field goal status here. It's going to be, it's going to be a close game.
That's what I hear. I hear it's going to be. And I honestly didn't realize it was this coming Sunday. That's why when you said hot wings on Sunday, my brain was really trying to race and kind of figure out why would I wait till Sunday when I could eat them tonight.
Well, that's okay. You can have the hot wings tonight, and you can eat crow on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the Falcons are going to win because I don't even know. I literally.
Sean, I'm going to give you a break. You don't even care.
I don't care. No, that's true. I was just about to say, other than Tom Brady, I couldn't tell you the name of one other player from both teams. So yeah, I don't care. But I do enjoy going over to a friend's house and watching the game, and normally I would rib my friends and root for whoever they're rooting against, but I just can't root for the Patriots. However, I will say Tom Brady kind of pulled a little bit on my heartstrings the other day because he took a lot of flack because he was wearing, of all the things that he could be taken flack for, he took a lot of flack from people because he was wearing a hat that said "Make America Great Again." And obviously, and he even said, like, people said, "Oh, I can't believe that you're friends with him." And he's like, or that you support him. And he goes, "Donald Trump's been my friend for years." It's like we've actually talked on the phone, we've visited each other.
Here's the deal: you may not have voted for Trump, but you got awful better hope that he succeeds and that he knows what he's doing, because if he's out there trying to do what he believes is going to be better for America, and if you're part of America, then you better hope to hell that he succeeds.
I tell you, last night, Robert, and it's been bothering me a lot lately, but last night things just, I don't know what it was. I must have spent too much time on Facebook yesterday. And,
are we going to talk politics today?
We are for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's fine. I probably need to get it off my chest. Last night I had to take, I've got these all natural sleep aids and I don't use them. I mean, literally my head hits the pillow and within minutes I'm gone to the world. I sleep like a rock. I have no problem falling asleep. But last night I just was like, I need to relax my brain. There's a product out there called GABA that's really good at helping you relax. And so I took a couple GABAs and I took a sleep aid just because I was like, I was so riled up and so angry. I was just, I couldn't figure out what I can't figure out is why this is making me so angry. Maybe because I'm watching, this country that I love, that I fought for, that I've been deployed overseas for, and I'm watching people throwing temper tantrums in ways that are just unacceptable. Like these protests in the airports now. Like how do you expect to protest in an airport and not have something horrible happen? Now, The airport is the one place. In fact, it was Uber of all the things, right? Uber. I don't know if you've ever taken Uber or not, but
I have.
Uber's. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Uber, most people know who Uber is now, but, Uber is this, they call it a taxi service. It's not really a taxi, but you go on an app on your phone and you call Uber, where you just put in, where you are and where you want to go. And some guy who's driving his own car, who's also got the app, he comes and he picks you up and he takes you where you want to go, and it's cheap. It's better than taking a taxi, in my opinion. It's cheaper than taking a taxi. Clean cars, and on and on. Well, they've got this thing called Surge. So when there's a lot of demand, the price actually goes up, because now you're either going to have to wait forever for a car, or you've got to raise the price. It's a supply and demand thing, and it works really well. Because what happens is, when it goes into Surge, people who don't really need a ride right now, they'll just wait until Surge goes away. Well, basically, because of all these protests, the air train, and I think it was, I don't know if it was JFK, or I think it was JFK.
Yes, it was.
It was taking people, basically from the parking lot to the airport. What they said was, unless you're an employee of the airport or you have an airline ticket, you're not getting on the air train. So, you couldn't get on the air train to go pick up your loved one at the airport. They had to meet you at the garage. Now, which, I get it. The process, they need to do that. They need to keep some sense of order at the airport, of all places, right? So what Uber did to be helpful was, they said, we're going to, because they knew what that meant was, now more people are going to be ordering cars at Uber, or ordering Uber cars at the airport, which meant Surge is going to go through the roof now because of the air train thing going, right?
Hey, Sean, are you saying search or surge?
Surge, like you get a surge of electricity, or a surge of power.
Okay.
So that's just a term they use for a price increase, like a momentary price increase. It's a little surge of price increase. And so they knew that they were going to go into what's called surge, which meant prices are the way that was set up, what that was going to do, the prices were going to go 8-10 times the normal price. It was going to be outrageous.
Wow.
I've talked to someone who's seen it at 12 times the price.
Now does that difference go to the driver, or does it go to Uber?
Both. So if I take an Uber ride and it costs $10, I think roughly somewhere around, depending on what area you're in, but 75 to 80% of that goes to the driver, and Uber gets the rest. Mm. So if that $10 right now, because of Surge, costs $50, well, then Uber would get, say, 10, and the driver would get 40.
Yeah, but the driver still makes out like a bandit.
Oh, yeah, the driver makes out like a bandit. So it's great for the drivers, right? Well, what Uber did was, they said, look, there's going to be a lot of demand, and we don't want to, they're not into gouging. Uber is actually a pretty ethical company. So what they said, what we're going to do is, we're going to remove, because Surge is funny. The Surge is actually ran by a computerized system. It's not like a person goes in and says, "Oh, we got a lot of demand." Mm-hmm. There's a computer that monitors the Surge, and so as demand goes up, the Surge goes up until more drivers show up. Well, anyway, they can go in and shut off Surge in certain areas. So Uber said, we're going to go ahead and shut off Surge around the airport until this calms down, because we don't want to be gouging people. So what the liberals do, they basically attacked Uber relentlessly, saying that Uber was promoting, the right wing agenda, that they were helping the airport out, that they were on and on and on. And I'm going, they're trying to help everybody, but they got viciously attacked by the left, because the left was saying, well, now you're making it, you're basically removing the chaos from that we're trying to create. You're actually making the chaos go away. You're helping everybody live their lives. And the left was upset, and they attacked on social media. They went on and started attacking.
What about all the people that they're inconveniencing that have nothing to do with their cause?
That's their point.
That are innocent. Yeah, I know, but they're innocent. And so, when is the press going to wake up and say, these protesters are taking away the civil rights of the individuals?
But the media is going to feed it as much as long as the media is going to sell airtime and clicks and papers and whatever else. They're going to keep feeding into these little crybabies.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. They want to inconvenience the innocent people, or they wouldn't stand out in freeways and block traffic, or they wouldn't. Man, I saw a video from Portland, Oregon. These guys were standing in front of like the little, it's like I don't know what they call them out there, but it's a little public, it's kind of like a train that goes down the city streets, kind of like I don't know what they call those cars out in San Francisco. But anyway,
they call them cable cars.
Like a cable car. Yeah, it's kind of like a cable car, but it's so it's in Portland. It's on train, and the protesters, man, they were standing there blocking the cable cars, and man, these police came in like full on like SWAT gear. They weren't carrying SWAT guns. Actually, they were carrying rifles, but they looked like a SWAT team coming in, and must have been 20 of them, and they ran alongside that train until they came around the corner, and all of a sudden those protesters started to scatter. These cops grabbed these protesters and threw them to the ground. I mean, I'm not talking like grabbed them and just kind of like, no, they grabbed them and slammed them against the ground, knee on the back, handcuffing them behind the back, and I'm sitting there going, this is what needs to happen more. Because right now I'm watching this country.
Sean, not to interrupt you, but the difference between a mob and a crowd is the lack of a leader. And the problem is having a crowd, that's okay. But when you've got a protest and it becomes violent, it's because you've got a leader, and that's a mob, and that is not necessarily a safe circumstance to be in. And I don't condemn the police at all for taking action to put an end to that and to protect the general public.
Well, I think what they did was fantastic. I absolutely support them 100% because, like you said, these things turn into mobs. The mobs all of a sudden now think they've got more numbers, and then they start doing stuff like breaking things and burning things down. And these police went in and they said, no, we're going to nip this in the bud right now. You think you're going to just gather in the middle of the streets and block traffic? Not in Portland, Oregon. Yeah. And it was awesome to see that finally maybe our law enforcement is going to be able to do their job, because for the last several months they've been told to step back and let it happen.
But just out of curiosity, because I really haven't heard, but I do know, regardless of what you think of Trump has said he's going to be the law and order president. And he may have already put the word out, hey, I'm not putting up with this BS. I'm not letting people, take the law into their own hands. They can protest and they can assemble. They have the right to that under the Constitution. But I'm not going to let them break the law arbitrarily or damage other people's private property. We're going to do something about it. And maybe what took place in Portland was a result of some kind of mandate that came down and said, enough of this BS. We're not letting people damage public property.
And I hope so. I hope that's exactly why. Yeah. We finally have a president who is willing to stand up and go, this is because where we're headed right now with all these protests. If these idiots, these little crybaby whiners out there don't stop, one of two things are going to happen. We're either going to have a bloodbath eventually. People are going to get tired of it, and eventually it's going to become this civil war, or we're going to go into martial law. I mean, you can't let a society continue to protest and riot and disrupt, daily living for 4 years. You just can't do it.
Well, Sean, it doesn't do you any good to be a country of laws if you're going to allow the general public to break them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you, what's the point of having laws? Exactly. If you want to live in anarchy, you go find somewhere else to live. Yeah. There's a reason why anarchy doesn't work. Because people end up just killing everybody, and that's where I see this headed, and I don't know why it's really gotten to me lately. I get it. You don't like Trump. That's fine. I don't mind. And the personal attacks, like the attacks on his family, on his wife. Who was that idiot that said she wouldn't interview Melania Trump because she didn't speak English well enough? I'm like, this woman is fluent in 5 languages.
I mean, give me a break. You know what?
Yeah, and the attacks on Trump's mom, the attacks on Trump's son, and his kids in general, on his wife. I'm going, you know what? When did this become acceptable? Imagine,
Sean, think about this. If you're not a foreigner, then you're probably not an American, because we're a land of foreigners and immigrants and refugees.
Sure, right. But we're legal immigrants.
Yeah.
And I get it. Everyone wants to go, look what we did to the Indians. And I get it. That was not a pretty time, but it's done. It's over with. We can't fix it. It's not like everybody's going to go back. What country am I supposed to go back to? My lineage comes from like 6 or 7 different countries. I don't have anywhere to go back to, And so, what are we supposed to do? I get it. It was a horrible thing. It's not like the Native Americans were all trying to hand out peace pipes and we just went over and started slitting throats. There was definitely a war. They fought, we fought, when I say we, I mean the settlers that came here, and, the white man, if you want to call us that, won, but that's happened in every single culture, in every single land.
Well, you remember history, you remember the Roman Empire, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, look what the Romans did. Yeah, the Romans who didn't stop until they hit the Germanic region. The Germanic region was like, no, we actually know how to fight, and we're going to stop you. Look at Attila the Hun. Look what he did. Look what Shaka, the Zulu tribe did. It's happened everywhere. I mean, even South America, really. Central and South America is all because of the Europeans. That's why they speak Spanish there, except for in Brazil where they speak Portuguese. But it's like, it's not just the United States where this happened. It happened all over the world, and it happened throughout history repeatedly. And so we see this, and we go, let's try to prevent this from happening. We put up some borders. If we know that people are coming into our country from another country, and that whole list of 7 countries that he has, stopped immigration from those countries to here, those 7 countries were named by President Obama. They weren't named by Trump. Those were from Obama's administration. But everyone's saying that, Obama picked those 7 because, he doesn't have business ties there, but he didn't pick Saudi Arabia and all these other countries that he has business ties. It's like, no, he picked them because that was the list that he was handed from the Obama administration.
Well, you know what? It may even be, if you try to read between the lines, and I have no justification and no proof, no indication of what I'm about to say is accurate in any way. But if you look at those 7 countries, they encircle, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, these countries that are not included. Wouldn't it be interesting if Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan and those countries that are not included just turned out to be a base of operations for attacking ISIS is in a wagon wheel form shooting out?
That's very possible, man. I never even thought about that, but that makes sense.
And so why would you infuriate the people whose land you want to use as a base of operations?
Right, exactly. And those are places that I've been to. Saudi Arabia, I've based out of there with the military. I've been based out of United Arab Emirates. I've been based out of Bahrain, and we've had people in Qatar, and we've had people all over that region. Where, sure, did some of the 9/11 attackers come from Saudi Arabia? Sure. Are they considered a stronghold for ISIS and other terrorists that want to slit our throats? Not really. Does a lot of money come from there? Probably. But the point is that that's not where the terrorists are.
Right.
They may be funded by the Saudis, but, people from Saudi Arabia come over here and they're not terrorists.
Yeah.
People from these other countries come, and there's a lot of terrorists in a lot of these countries. And until we get, it's like, I love that. Obama put a stop for people coming in from Iraq. It took him 6 months to review it and finally let them come back in, where Trump is saying, look, I've got 7 countries, give me 3 months. And here's the bigger difference for you. When Obama did it,
it didn't make the news. They didn't make a protest.
Yeah.
Nobody said a damn thing about it, right? And here's a guy saying, hey, it's 90 days while we straighten this thing out. And out of 126,000 people a day that show up, 109 were inconvenienced for a couple of hours. Come on, give me a break, will you?
Yeah. I just don't understand how this has gotten so far out of hand. And I look at this and I think we're just... Well,
sure you understand it. You understand it because you betcha it's the media and it's the Democrats opposing anything that Donald Trump wants to do. And the only thing Donald Trump wants to do is he wants to fulfill his campaign promises that he made that got him elected to the White House to start with. And all he is doing is fulfilling those campaign promises.
Yeah, isn't that funny? For once, we got a president who's actually fulfilling his campaign promises, and everyone's mad at him for it.
Like they didn't know it was going to do that. Yeah, hey, I didn't know he was going to do this. Are you kidding? He told you 6 times before you voted.
Yeah.
Come on, you didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know. What is it you didn't know? That he was going to actually start taking action the minute he was sworn in? He's not a sleeper. He's gonna take care of business.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's what he does. That's all he knows how to do is take care of business. Yeah. So it's just, this whole thing. I will say everything that he's done so far. And I know that people are upset about the immigration thing, but everything that I've seen him do so far, I've gone, wow, man, this guy is doing good things.
You know what? The immigration thing, very honestly, I support it, but it was really rolled out a little bit wrong because they're now backpedaling a little bit and straightening a lot of it up. Those people that already had green cards, that were already here legally, should have been exempted and should have had waivers instead of being inconvenienced. But you know what? What was the inconvenience? Friday to Tuesday, for God's sakes, they got that all fixed. And you know what? There's nothing more important than the protection of the citizens of this country in this country or any other country.
That's the number one responsibility of our government is to protect us.
That's right.
Number one job.
That's right. And somewhere down the line, somebody's forgotten all about that. I'm just dying. I just can't hardly wait until Trump goes down his list and he gets to Korea.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. I mean, he's not afraid of North Korea. And, the other thing about this immigration, I'm going to go back to it one more time.
Yeah.
Is the thing is that people aren't saying is he just got off the phone. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday with I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was the king or princes or who it was. I mean, one of the leaders in Saudi Arabia, and worked out an agreement where look, let's find a way to house these refugees
right
in your area. Bring them into Saudi Arabia's got a camp that could house 3 million people right now. It's totally empty. And he's saying, look, so he actually worked out an agreement with Saudi Arabia and actually a couple of other countries as well to say, hey, look, let's bring these refugees into your country. This is basically it's right down the street from their homeland until we can figure it out. And then once we get a vetting process, we can start bringing them into the United States.
Yeah, because you know what the truth is here. The truth is I'm not going to say that there aren't some of those people that would like to come to the United States, but the majority of those people would like to stay in their own country. And all you need to do is to give them some kind of protection while this whole mess gets straightened out. Let's continue this conversation when we come back from this commercial break. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave. And I guess it's geared for wellness, has to do with our well-being today. We'll be right back with Sean after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. Still 74 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, you lucky dog. It's 50 degrees and it's mostly cloudy. And if you're in Rome, Italy, you're even luckier because it's 52 degrees and it's totally clear. But you know what? Talking about clear, here's a guy that he's so articulate, he has no problem moving the fog out of the way so you see the reality of things going on. Our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, you're back on the microphone, bud.
All right. So, yeah, I just needed to vent. I feel better now, Robert. Thank you. I had to get that off my chest, Yeah, but I'm just looking at all these things that Trump's doing, and like you said, he's doing what he feels is the best for this country, and I genuinely believe that that's what he's going to continue to do, and I believe that's been his intention the entire time. That it's not, that it's not something he's doing for his own grandiose purposes, and people say, oh, he's a narcissist.
You know what, Sean?
You know what?
Donald Trump has not done anything that has really been self-serving, but he is a CEO. He's a leader. He's a businessman that's accustomed to getting things done, making decisions, and not having dissent, and not having the people that work for him work against him. And you know what? People are complaining about, he's got this hotel right across from the White House that he rents from the government. He's fixed the whole thing up, and countries are renting out the whole hotel. They're making a big deal of it. Who the hell cares? Trump says that's okay. Any profits from any foreign country that rents a room in that hotel or rents that hotel, it's all going directly to the United States Treasury. How do you argue with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's really unbelievable that people still look at him like he's this self-serving jerk that's only doing this for his own grant. I just don't get it, because I think he's pretty. He met with today. Now I just saw a clip of this just before we got on the air. There's a couple things that I got to put my eyes on just before we got on the air. But he met with the pharmaceutical companies and said, "Look, guys, here's the deal. We need to bring prices down for a lot of reasons. And for the especially going through the Medicare or the Medicaid program, they're both those programs. We've got to get prices down on these drugs. We can't." And he goes, "And we're gonna find ways to make it efficient for you guys. You need to make money. I get that." He goes, "And we're gonna streamline the approval." He goes, "You shouldn't bring something to the market and take years for it to get approved."
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that he's doing. I mean, he is really smart. First of all, he's got these business people in front of him. He's saying we need to lower the prices. This is ridiculous, but we also know that you've got to make a profit. So here's what's going to happen. Every time Congress or any government entity creates a law that affects business, they have to get rid of two archaic laws at the same time, and the new law has to have a zero effect on the national debt, on the deficit. And here's the other thing we're going to do. We're going to get rid of this baloney idea that people who have a terminal disease cannot use whatever they want to use in their heart to try and feel a little bit better. I mean, does that just make sense or what?
Yeah, that's great, and you sent me that, and you know what, I'm all for it. If
you're going to be dead in 4 weeks, What the hell could I take? I mean, give me a break. You know what?
Yeah.
When we give somebody a lethal injection, we actually use a sterile needle.
I know. I actually saw there was an article about that. This was years. It was probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard, but they had to delay the execution of this guy because they couldn't find a vein good enough to get a needle in. And I'm thinking, stab him with the thing. Like, seriously, it's a lethal injection. You know, like, slice the dude open until you find a vein.
Stick the damn needle through his temple, for God's sakes.
They had to delay an execution because they couldn't get the needle in the vein. They couldn't find a vein that was good enough. And I'm like, here, give him some niacin. He'll flush. He'll see a vein. Stab it. Like, you know, like trust me. It's unbelievable to think that so yeah, you know, I don't even know where we're going with this anymore. But other than
we were talking about all the drug companies and the fact that he has begun negotiations, and the way he's doing it is smart. He's telling them, we need to bring the prices down. We need to get Medicare prices down. We need to get all drug prices down in this country. We shouldn't be paying more than anybody in any other country has to pay for them. And here's the thing. We want to get them down. What do we need to do to get them down that we can do reasonably? We can get rid of regulations. We can get rid of some of your research and development costs. We can reduce the time it takes for new presentations to the FDA. We can get rid of a lot of this red tape. That lowers your costs. That should lower our costs too and maintain your margins.
Yeah, I'm not even a consumer of the medical system. You know, I don't believe in using drugs for the vast majority of things out there.
You don't know what you're missing, Sean. You don't know what you're missing, man.
No, the recreational ones are.
I'm just kidding. You know, why the hell would I want to take a pill when I could drink?
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. It tastes good. I get all the. I get the taste out before it even kicks in. I was showing someone a clip. I think it was yesterday, the day before, of something from Steve Martin. Of course, he was so funny, and he said doing a stand-up comedy. He's like, all right, he goes, well, we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Just wait for the drugs to kick in.
Yeah.
And the way Steve Martin was, he probably was too far off. He's probably pretty serious.
Well, you know what? I mean, he really has retired. He's kind of just escaped off the face of the earth, hasn't he?
Well, you know what he's doing a lot of now is he's really involved with the promotion of the arts, specifically for banjo players. I don't know if you knew this, but he's a very accomplished banjo player.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know that. I did that. You know, on a different light, I watched something last night, and I've actually saved it for my grandson. Hopefully he'll get to see it. It was on HBO, and it was Becoming Warren Buffett. It was all about his entire life. It was an hour and a half. If you go to HBO on demand or if it's still there, it's probably going to play again and watch it. It is just phenomenal. What a fantastic, phenomenal human being Warren Buffett is. And
it's called Becoming Warren Buffett.
Yeah, Becoming Warren Buffett.
Yeah, I've read several, little write-ups about him, and it sounds like considering how much money he has, he lives fairly modestly.
He gave away $67 billion to charity.
Yeah, and he gives a ton of money away to charity. He lives for a multi-billionaire. Yeah. He lives a fairly modest. I think he drives like a Buick or something like that. It's obviously a really nice one, but he doesn't even drive. Where I live down in Newport Beach, you see these guys in Bentleys.
Oh yeah,
and all these Rolls Royce. I mean, literally every day I see Rolls Royces and Bentleys and Ferraris.
He's a simple man. He really doesn't care about money. That's just a byproduct of the thing that he enjoys doing. And it was his wife, his late wife, that wanted to be a philanthropist and give things to charity. She passed away, and he gave away these billions of dollars in honor of her because he says, you know what? I love this. I make a lot of money. I make boatloads of money. It was her job to figure out how to get rid of it. Well, this is what she would have done with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, anything above $10 billion, I probably wouldn't really need to live my lifestyle. I mean,
anything above $10 billion?
Anything above $10 billion, I don't think I would even need. You know what I'm saying? I could live comfortably with $10 billion.
I could live pretty well on 10% of that, I think.
I think I could too.
Anyway, if you get a chance, anybody listening, boy, you've got to see that movie. It's going to change your whole mind about how some human beings are. Yeah, Becoming Warren Buffett. Man, I want to tell you.
Check it out. Is it on Netflix, you know?
I don't know if it'll be on Netflix. I think it was HBO. I'm not sure. But I got to tell you what. God, it was just phenomenal. I'll find out for sure where I saw it from, and I'll email you or text you on it. But it's Becoming Warren Buffett, and oh man, it's just phenomenal. Matter of fact, you owe me one. You took up hours and hours of my time.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to watch like Lonesome Dove 5 times to make up for you. You know, I finally got all those, by the way, on I can actually email you a link. You can watch the rest of them now, because you only watched 3 of them, didn't you?
Yeah.
And there's 9 altogether.
Well, give me a little bit of a breather before you send me the next one.
Yeah,
because they expire, and I don't want to be forced into I got to watch it today or never.
Yeah, no, it's. In fact, I think they're gonna mail me a package. I think I'm actually gonna get them in digital format, like on a thumb drive or something like that, so I can actually just send it to you once I get that. Right now, I can get you a link where you can watch it download it, or watch it, like stream it or whatever they call it. But hey, check this out. Here's something that's really cool. Speaking of toxins in our bodies.
Wait a minute, were we talking about toxins in our bodies? I thought we were talking about Warren Buffett and money.
Well, we were talking about Warren Buffett, but then we got talking about the Vaccines Revealed movies.
Hey, that's okay. I do this. I do this to you all the time. I deserve to get it in reverse.
So there was a brand new court ruling came down against Monsanto that they are now saying that California can require Monsanto to put a cancer warning label on their Roundup product.
Oh, really? You know what?
Yeah.
You heard about Governor Moonbeam. He's got prostate cancer.
I did not hear about that.
Well, you know what? I hate this is going to be taken the wrong way, and it sounds very what's the word I want to use? It's not very nice of me. But you know what? He has been such a pain in the ass for a long time. He deserves this.
You know it's coming.
No one deserves this.
And unfortunately, it takes that with a lot of people for them to become an advocate.
Yeah.
Especially if they go, here's why you got cancer. Especially if they can link it to something like Monsanto.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's people. It's funny how people become passionate about something that they didn't give a hoot about 2 days ago, when all of a sudden they realize that it actually does affect their life. You know what?
You hit the nail on the head, Sean. As long as it doesn't, the whole mentality is been, and it's a shame to say it, but the whole mentality, and it's worldwide, is, hey, you know what? If it doesn't affect me, I don't care. But the second it affects you, boy, your whole mindset changes.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. Yeah, it truly does. And I've been fortunate enough that I'm passionate about what I do, and I have my own health issues back in the day that I went through, but it wasn't anything major. I didn't have a kid that was vaccine injured. For me to get passionate about vaccines, I didn't. There's a lot of things that I'm passionate about in the healthcare world.
You get passionate about a lot of things, or you wouldn't even have a kid.
Yeah, that's for darn sure. Exactly. Yeah, I think that.
Who are you kidding?
This whole. I was thinking about this the other day. This whole testosterone thing. How we're loaded with testosterone by the time we graduate high school, and then eventually it just kind of dwindles off. And I think the reason why God put it in us that way is because He knows by the time you hit your 40s, you have all the testosterone in the world. You go, you know what, this isn't worth it. I've seen other people with kids. It sounds good. You know, if you don't have kids by the time you're 30, you start to get smart enough. You go, you know what, this just isn't worth it.
Hey, the dumb thing is that older people all the time tell you you've got time, wait, mature, you've got plenty of time, you've got a whole life ahead of you. But when it comes to kids, you better do it early because you may not survive it.
Yeah, that's what I say. What nowadays, that's true. I got a buddy of mine. We graduated high school together. Now my son just turned 21 last year, and he's got a daughter that's due in February. His first kid. Mm-hmm. And he just got married the year before last. You know, and I'm going, wow, man, this is crazy. You know, I got my whole family thing out of the way and done and over with by the time before you even got married. And I think about it. You know, because he'll be, I guess he's 48 like me, so he'll be 49 next year, or this year, I should say. And, by the time his kid is grown, he's going to be pushing 70. And,
God, that's young,
I know 70.
Don't say pushing 70.
Well, I know, but you got grandkids.
I'm pulling 70.
Yeah, I know you're pulling it. I know, but your kids didn't just leave the house, though.
That's true.
Let me think if you're 70, you're usually in the grandparent stage by then. You're not.
I am. I'm totally into the grandparent stage.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Unless his daughter starts getting pregnant when she's young, he's not going to be a grandparent until he's 75 or 80.
I got to tell you, I love my grandkids so much. I'm sorry that I started off with kids just to skip kids altogether, go straight to grandchildren.
I keep hearing that. I hear the grandkids are a whole lot more fun.
Oh man,
you can just give them back. You can spoil them. And
hey, did you get that video that I sent you yesterday? The one about the little 4-year-old orphan.
It was which one? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
which one?
This little 4-year-old orphan. He goes up there. There's this gate, and then he goes through the gate, and there's these big doors with these big nail things on it. And he opens the door right, and he screeches, to open the door, and he goes down there, and he sees this woman all dressed in black with the little white trims on it, and she's smacking some other little kid, and he walks up there, and she says, what do you want? He says, well, I need a place to stay. I want my mommy and I want my daddy. And she says, well, are you going to be a good boy? And he's looking kind of past her, and he's looking up, and he says, and he sees this guy nailed to a cross on the wall, and he says, yeah, I'm going to be a good boy.
Yeah, exactly. I did not get that, but that's funny. I'll have to go back and look. I don't remember seeing it come in. I'll have to go figure that's funny.
I think I sent it to you as an email.
I guess I'll have to go back and look and see if I didn't get that one. At least I didn't see it. There's a joke that's basically the same thing. It's about a kid, going to a school to learn how to do math, and they long joke short. Basically, they said, "How come you're doing so well?" He goes, it was a Catholic school. They were supposed to have this great program. He said, "Well, I saw they had that guy nailed up on that big plus sign. I realized they were serious about their math."
Yeah, they were serious. I'm going to be a good boy. Absolutely.
First I'm going to be a good boy. All right, come on in.
All right, buddy. Hey, listen, we're going to take one more short break. Actually, we're about a minute early, but we'll do that to give us an extra minute on the next round. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be right back with God knows what. Right after these quick, brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m., actually 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. It's going down on its way to 48 degrees. Well, if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, it's 48 degrees and overcast. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, 25 degrees and it is snowing out there. But you know what? No snow. No overcast, no obstructions at all in the mind of our own Sean LaFave. Sean, you're on the air.
All right. You know, it was 66 or 67 degrees or something like that here yesterday. It was awesome.
How does it happen that in Wichita, Kansas, it's warmer than Southern California?
I don't know, especially in January. It's supposed to be like 10 degrees here right now. It doesn't even make sense. You know, this whole global warming is real. I don't know. Well, that's another thing Trump did.
Wait a minute. I want to record that. Oh, I am recording that. I'm gonna shoot this back to you from time to time. Can't believe you just let that just meander so slipped it right round through there like you thought I wasn't going to catch it.
I'll tell you though, yesterday was a beautiful day. It was sunny. It was in the mid 60s, and you know, I went outside. In fact, I sat outside and worked out on the deck, and I went and worked on my Jeep. Coincidentally, I needed to replace the starter in my Jeep, and I thought, gosh, what a better way to do it than when it's sunny and 65. So I worked on my Jeep, and you know, I always feel good. I don't know what it is.
What the hell? Don't you know somebody that could have done that for you?
Well, yeah. Well, where's the fun in that?
Well, the fun in that is you sit on the porch. Work fascinates me. I can sit down and look at it for hours. You could sit down on the porch, have a nice cocktail in your hand, and watch the guy replace your starter.
Well, I can have a cocktail in my hand and replace the starter myself at the same time.
You can do that with one hand? Oh, man. That scares me with what you're doing with your other hand.
Why do you think I spend so much time under the car?
Yeah, you don't wear glasses, do you? No, I never.
But no, it's literally, I replaced so many starters. It's such an easy thing. It took me, I timed myself, and it took me 35 minutes to replace my starter. It cost me $55. And
as opposed to taking it down someplace and having it done, what would it cost you?
Oh, it would probably be $300 at least. I would imagine. I was going to say at least a couple $100. Yeah, probably somewhere between $200 to $300. Yeah. So, there's a lot of satisfaction
to knowing that you did it too, isn't there?
Oh, there is. There's an immense amount of satisfaction.
Yeah.
I think it's the same. I get the same satisfaction helping a person as I do fixing my own cars. I go, okay, cool. I fixed something and it felt great. I fixed this person. I fixed my car. I love working. I actually don't like taking my car to have someone else do the work, but sometimes I have to because I don't have. Sometimes you need like specialty tools or whatever, or maybe it's just it's one of those things that I go, I could do this, but it would take me an entire weekend to do it, where I could have someone else do it in 4 hours. Some things I'm just not very fast at, but doing a starter motor, man, there's just like 2 big bolts. Do the wiring, take these 2 big bolts out, remove the starter, put the new one back in place, bolt it back in, rewire it, and boom, you're done. And it's super, super easy to do. Starter motors are super easy. But I enjoy working on cars in general. I think it's something I've always worked on my own cars. I worked on my motorcycles when I was a kid. I worked on my bicycle. I even went to school to be I went to the best bicycle.
Were you actually working on those engines, those motors, before you went to school to learn it? I think what I'm asking is, my brother was a master mechanic, and he no longer does that. He's an executive now, but he was a master mechanic for years and years and years. And in General Motors, Ford Motor Company, Chrysler, when they had these issues that their mechanics couldn't figure out what was going on, their headquarters would call my brother, fly him to wherever it was for him to fix those vehicles. Well, my brother started off, he'd get these old junkers. My folks would buy him old junkers. He'd tear them apart. He didn't know a thing about them, and he'd put them back together. Now, the sad part is once in a while, there were a couple of spare parts, but he always put them back together again, and they always ran, and that's how he learned it. Now, I was just kind of wondering if you were that way, too, before you actually took any formal courses.
No, the only classes that I ever went to were for bicycle mechanic. I never actually went to. I never went to a school to learn how to be a car mechanic. And so everything that I do on cars is all self-taught. But the only cars that I really have a problem with are anything that has a computerized system. The computers, you got to plug them in and you got to do an analysis. And obviously, I don't have the tool for that, and I really have no desire to learn how to work on them. I much prefer older cars. I like cars that are, carburetors and very basic mechanically running cars.
You like car maintenance, not high technology.
Right. Yeah.
When it comes to vehicles, I mean, when it comes to vehicles, my favorite car. I remember I had a '58 Chevy. Boy, I loved that thing. But before that, I had a '57 Chevy. The one with the wings. Boy, that was a hot car. Boy, that was a great car. Before that, I had a '49 Merc. It was like a death trap. It was a tank. It was just but it had overdrive, which meant, and I used to when I was in school, I'd race guys. I'd say, hey, look, I'm going to race you in second gear, or I'd race them in first gear, but usually second gear. And I say, you can't get out of second gear. Well, I had overdrive. I'd kick in the overdrive, and hell, I could do 80 miles an hour in second gear. These guys I'd just fly right by them. They couldn't figure out what the hell happened, but there was always a guy in my car making sure that I was being honest about it, right?
Making sure that you weren't shifting.
I never shifted that gear.
I love it. Wow. Yeah, I love the old cars. But yeah, so anyway, it was beautiful here. It was sunny. I got to work on my car, and it was just yesterday was such a beautiful day. It was wonderful. But today was nice too, like you said. You know, it was at 50-something degrees, and you know, when it's 50 degrees here, to me, it feels like t-shirt weather. Out in California, if it's 50 degrees, everybody's got, you know, parkas on.
Well, you know what's interesting? You know, they were talking about wind chill. I don't know why they're talking about wind chill, because I don't feel any wind out here. But they're saying out here that it's like 58 degrees, but it feels like 27. You know, hello. you know, if you're going to tell me that, what makes you think I'm going to go outside?
It feels like 27. I can assure you, it does not feel like 27.
Yeah.
That's a whole different world.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so back to the health. Here's something. This is kind of interesting. You know, we think about the people who serve us, and you know, everybody from the police and firefighters and so on, and you know, and of course, you know, and of course military as well. You know, a lot of them have a lot of health problems.
Oh, yeah. Prostitutes.
But you know, we think about, you know, someone getting
you let
shot.
That fly, you let that fly right by, didn't you?
Yes, I did. You know, but we think about, you know, like you know, a firefighter might get burned in a building or have a building collapse on, or a cop might get shot. Of course, you know, military, you know, die in explosions and getting shot and on and on. But here was a really sad news article. New York Police Department deputy chief just recently died from cancer related to 9/11. He spent 6 months leading the search and rescue crews and cleanup and stuff at Ground Zero. He was down there for 6 months in doing the search efforts, and basically all that stuff that he breathed in from all that debris eventually got to him. He got cancer a few years ago. They did a surgery that they thought was successful, and then of course the cancer came back, and he just died.
Well, you know what's sad? You know what's sad? I mean, that is certainly sad. But what is sad is that happened to so many of our first responders and the people that went there to recover bodies and some of the survivors. There weren't many survivors, but what's sad is all of those people, those first responders, police officers, firemen, just good Samaritans, rushing in when everybody else was rushing out. They're rewarded by getting these catastrophic diseases and dying as a result of their goodwill.
Yep, exactly. You know, and it's harsh. And a lot of these guys don't get paid a lot of money to do that, and it's terrible to think. You know, obviously, you know, he's been on the police force and was still active in the police force, and so clearly his medical bills were being paid, and I'm sure there was a life insurance policy for his family. But you know, he left behind a wife and 2 kids, and you know, that's just, he was 50. How old was he this year? He had to be older than that. He was on the police force for 35 years. So figure, he was probably around 55 to 60, I would guess, somewhere around there. You know, so you know, fairly young guy, but that's just tragic. You know, I think. Cancer, you know, from helping save people's lives. He literally got cancer and died because he was helping save people's lives.
You know what's amazing when you think about it? What is it? 16 years ago, that almost 16 years ago that 9/11 happened, and that all of that dust and soot and all of that stuff, after 16 years, the residual is still caked in his lungs and absorbed into the tissues of his body, and it didn't go away. And I mean, how horrific is that?
Yeah, you know, it is. It's horrific. It's terrible. And, you know, it reminds me of, I know a doctor out in Florida. His name is Ben Lerner. And we were talking about a patient of his that came in one time, and this is kind of a funny story. I mean, it's funny, and not ha-ha necessarily funny. It has that component too, but it's also really, there's a sad side to this thing. But he has this patient come in, and he says, "Yeah, doc," he said, "I've got this nose that runs all the time." He goes, "I always have a runny nose. Just every day. I've had it for years. I've tried everything. Nothing will get it to go away." And he goes, "My buddy said that you fix all kinds of stuff and that you could probably fix my runny nose." And he says, oh, yeah. He goes, so he explains to him, if you get chiropractic, that it adjusts the alignment of the spine so that the nerves work better and the body works more efficiently, and all these things eventually correct themselves as you correct the alignment in the spine. And he said, all right, that makes sense to me. Let's give it a shot. So he said, after about a month, this guy was coming in every week. He goes, after, I think like 2 or 3 times in the beginning, kind of deal. And he said, after a month, he goes, I asked him, hey, how's your runny nose doing? And he goes, I regretted it ever since he goes, right after I asked him, I regretted it because his answer was, well, Doc, he goes, honestly, it's still running. He goes, it feels like it's actually running even worse now than when I first started coming to see you. He goes, but, you said you can fix it. I'm going to give you a chance, And he goes, every single time he came into my office for a year almost after that, his nose is still running, Doc. How long is this going to take to fix it? And he's like, I'm having faith in you. He goes, well, man, this is taking a long time, right? So he says, after about a year in his office, this guy comes in. He goes, hey, Doc, you got to read this. And he hands him a letter, and it's a letter from an attorney's office that's representing a class action lawsuit for a company this guy used to work for. And what it stated was that this plant where he worked in was filled with asbestos, and a large percentage of the people that worked there had all gotten mesothelioma and had died from cancer. And the one thing that all of them had in common who were still alive was they all had a runny nose, chronic runny nose. And he goes, I get it now, Doc. He goes, the reason why my nose runs worse now than when I first started coming to see you, my body works more efficiently, and now it's getting all of this stuff out of my lungs. Because what the body does is the lungs produce a mucus to grab a hold of the toxins or all that. In this case, the asbestos is in the lungs, and it works its way up to drip out of the nose.
That's amazing.
And so this guy's running nose got, in his opinion, worse because it was running more, but in fact, because his body was working more efficiently, he was now getting rid of toxins, and it actually literally prevented him from getting cancer because he was able to have a runny nose. Isn't that crazy to think, how the human body works? And so you look at someone like this guy and you think, well, maybe there was something going on with him. Now, obviously not something that he would be aware of, that he would even have a reason to know this. Like how many, I could talk to 1,000 people and tell them this story, and I would be surprised if one person would go, oh yeah, I knew that. I knew that's, that makes sense to me,
Well, no, but it makes sense after you say it.
After you say it, but there's no one but I doubt I would be able to find someone who didn't already know about this, from being in this world or whatever, that would go, average, talking about the average person, that would go, oh yeah, that's something that I would have already thought about on my own. You wouldn't think about that on your own.
No, but I'll tell you what I am thinking about. I'm thinking about what we're going to talk about on Thursday, because we've got 15 seconds.
We've got 15 seconds. Let me see here. Thursday, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. But let's find. Do you think we'll be able to find something to talk about? We will. But I know we were talking about detox before we got on. We were supposed to be talking about detox when I got sent you those movies, and then we got on vaccines, and we got on all kinds of stuff, and then politics today. So let's go back to talking about detox on Thursday, and just how, like I talked about with this, like that guy's detox by runny nose. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the different ways that the body detoxes itself naturally.
That sounds great to me. In the meantime, you have a safe, dry, sunny, wonderful rest of the week. We'll talk to you on Thursday, and as always, God, you create a fantastic segment.
I had a fun time, Robert. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Sean. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Yeah.
The rest of you folks, stick around. When we come back from these brief messages, we're going to talk about the birthdays for the day. We're going to talk about the secret daily teaching for your life, and we're going to talk about interesting but useless facts. And don't forget, right after that, we'll be doing our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story, the missing year. You're going to love this, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. The temperature's going down 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. The low's going even deeper. Since it's going to get down to 37 degrees here tonight. And you know what? That's actually quite nice if you think about the kind of summers we have around here. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Madrid, Spain, wow, it's beautiful. 52 degrees. And it's clear. And you know what? If you happen to be in Tokyo, Japan, well, it's 40 degrees and mostly cloudy. But you know what? No clouds here. Let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. You know, this is all about a positive mental attitude. Tell you all the time. You decide. You're going to be successful, or if you're going to be a failure. You're going to be rich, or you're going to be poor. You can be happy. You're going to be sad. You even decide how the people around you are going to be. It all starts off in the morning when you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a fantastic, productive, profitable day today, and I'm going to make everybody around me glad that they are. I'm going to make them smile. You have the power to make all that happen. Well, you know what? The teaching for today is simple. It's focus on the qualities that you like about yourself, and the law of attraction will show you more great things about you. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there for you to know about yourself. And it's all breaks down to you're in control. Don't ever forget it. Well, you know what today is? Sure you do. Everybody knows what today is. Today is Tuesday, January the 31st, the last day of January, in 2017. And it is somebody's birthday. Yep, and we got some great birthdays today. Boy, here's one. A fellow born in 1923, passed away in 2007. A writer, playwright, and journalist, considered an innovator of narrative nonfiction. Happy birthday, Norman Mailer. And, boy, here's a guy. He's fast. 1947, it was his date of birth. A retired Major League Baseball pitcher, inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1999. Happy birthday, Nolan Ryan. Yep. And then here's somebody born in 1973, best known as Lawyer Nellie on the TV series Ally McBeal, and Lindsay on the sitcom Arrested Development. Married to Ellen DeGeneres. Happy birthday, Portia de Rossi. Yes, absolutely. Well, you wondered what was going on today in history? Well, I'm going to tell you. Just sit back and enjoy. On January the 31st, 1865, American Civil War Confederate General Robert E. Lee becomes General-in-Chief. And on this date in 1930, 3M begins marketing Scotch tape. Can you imagine? That was in 1930? Wow. It just doesn't seem like that long ago, right? Well, it seems longer than that ago is what I meant to say. But how about this date in 1990? The very first McDonald's in the Soviet Union opens in Moscow in Red Square. Yeah. And on January 31st, 1995, President Bill Clinton authorizes a $20 billion loan to Mexico to stabilize its economy. $20 billion. Let's see. How much was that wall going to be again? Yeah. Well, our quote for today comes from Mary Hirsch. And Mary says, humor is a rubber sword. It allows you to make a point without drawing blood. Now, there's something to truly think about, right? Well, you know what? We do this every day. We talk about these interesting but useless facts, and we're going to continue doing that right now. So we might as well get right to it. How about this? And man, you know, I'm running actually a little bit ahead of time. I can't believe it. We've got more time than I usually have, so we'll do a few extra of these. Did you know that the lifespan of a squirrel is 9 years? You'd have thought longer, right? Yeah. How about this? The honey month, or what we know today as the honeymoon. Yeah. Give that a break. How about this one? Several buildings in Manhattan, New York have their own zip code. The building does. For example, the former World Trade Center had several zip codes because of the amount of tenants. How about this? Did you know that white cats with blue eyes are usually deaf? Now, you got to be wondering about the guys that research this stuff and find these things. I mean, how on earth do they know these things? Did you know a group of foxes is called a skulk? Yeah, not a skunk, but a skulk. Try this one on for size. The world's largest wine cask is in Heidelberg, Germany. And I have seen it. I've been there. It is really something to see. And there's this walkway through there. It's a pedestrian walk. No cars or vehicles or bikes or anything allowed. You walk up and down there, and it's just great. They have vendors, and you can get crepes, and you can get drinks, and you can get just anything. And it's a family event. And this the world's largest wine cask is just up a little hill there, just a few steps, and you can see that. It's really something that's interesting. How about this? Did you know the most collected calls are made on Father's Day? We're talking about collect calls now. Made on Father's Day. And probably the most accepted collect calls, too. Did you know that queen bees lay up to 1,500, that's 1,500 eggs a day? Yeah, that's one busy bee. Busy as a bee. That makes sense, doesn't it? Sure. How about this? Miniature horses are even smaller than ponies. Yeah. You ever seen a miniature horse? Shetlands. They're really fascinating to watch. Did you know that Lloyd's of London began as Edward Lloyd's Coffee House? That's the big insurance company. And the metal part of a lamp that surrounds the bulb, and supports that shade, it's called a harp. Don't try to play it, but that's what it's called a harp. How about this one? The record for traveling from New York to Los Angeles by motorcycle is 45 hours, 41 minutes. Now, it was set in 1968 by Tiber Serosi. He was riding a BMW model R695. Now, Serosi made 4 fuel stops, never slept, fainted twice, and averaged 58.7 miles per hour all the way across. 58.7 miles per hour. And can you believe that? Unbelievable. Fastest time. That's a long time. How about this then? Did you know that cattle stomachs have 4 chambers which help break down what they eat? Yeah. Well, I'm going to leave you with this one. Both Joseph Stalin and Kaiser Wilhelm had crippled left arms. Now, Stalin, despite his popular image, was not a pipe smoker. He used the pipe only for effect at conferences and public appearances. In private, he chain-smoked cigarettes. Yep. Well, that one's that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story, the missing years. So don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:54 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 74 on its way to 37 degrees. And if you happen to be listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 70 degrees. And it's overcast. And if you're in Lisbon, Portugal, it's 52 degrees and it's partly cloudy. But right now, it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Yes, sir. The American Broadcasting Company calls him the biggest voice in America. He's Paul Harvey, and each week millions of listeners, viewers, and readers would await his unraveling of the mysteries of events in the lives of people, past and present. Heard on over 1,400 radio stations, seen on 110 television stations, and he was read in 300 newspapers. The rest of the story has for years been exploring the byways of history with revelations that are intriguing, amusing, and surprising. Well, in our tribute today to Paul Harvey, we're talking about the missing year. Well, you know, this chapter is the first time that the rest of the story has ever presumed to tell anybody about a missing year in his own life. Well, we are doing so only after a careful reading of his biographies, including his own autobiography, and there seems little doubt one year is missing. Tom is alive today. He freely, publicly discusses the intimate details of his life, that he has spent time in a mental hospital, that he is a homosexual. When, however, he is questioned about 1 year in particular, he scratches his head, tries to remember, and apparently does not recall. So, we're about to open a door which has been closed more than 40 years. In the fall of 1936, Tom entered Washington University in St. Louis. Among other courses, he signed up for English 16, a course in playwriting. English 16 had quite a good reputation among the students at Washington U. The professor was animated, well-liked. The class itself was brimming with enthusiasm and competitive spirit. Tom somehow just didn't fit in. Terribly shy, he always wore dark, unobtrusive clothing, sat quietly in the back of the class, socialized with no one. The highlight of English 16 was a playwriting contest, I should have said. Each student was to write a one-act play. The plays would be submitted to an independent jury. The jury would then choose 3 of the plays to be produced by the University Dramatic Club. And from those 3, an ultimate winner would be chosen by yet another jury. There was a great deal of pride and prestige connected with this contest. All the school year, the students of English 16 were hard at work on their one-act plays. You know, occasionally, the professor would read aloud in class fragments of his students' evolving efforts, and finally, the professor got around to reading Tom's play. The play seemed to reflect Tom's brooding personality. It was a dark Russian melodrama full of war and infidelity, and jealousy and nightmarish visions and murder. A polite criticism might have been heavy-handed. More directly, it was bad. Just plain bad. In fact, the play was so bad that Tom's usually considerate classmates laughed as it was read aloud by the professor. Tom did not say a word, nor did he attempt to alter his lugubrious drama before submitting it to the jury. On the final day of class, the professor announced the names of the 3 plays which had been chosen. Tom's play was not one of them. Upon hearing this, Tom rose slowly, his face tensed in silent rage, and he left the room. That was the last day they saw Tom at Washington University. Today, Tom apparently remembers nothing. He does not recall ever having enrolled in Washington U. He does not recall English 16, nor the contest, nor the rejection of his play, nor even the play itself. The official university records prove that he was there. His classmates still living remember well. Once upon a time, America's greatest living playwright lost a playwriting contest. He has forgotten that play, and so have we. We remember Glass Menagerie. We remember Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. We remember A Streetcar Named Desire. In the light of all he's given us ever since, there's really no need to recall that missing year in his life of Tom Tennessee Williams. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, tomorrow's story, a swan song. You're not going to want to miss it. And on my next show, I'm going to give you a guide, an insider's guide to slot machines in the winning strategies for Texas Hold'em. You're not going to want to miss those things. And then our own Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, is going to be here talking about wireless technology. I'm going to continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey with the rest of the story. And I'm going to ask you to please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And I promise you, I'll be glad you did.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.